Hi, Pelini. Hello, how are you doing? Hi, good evening. How are you? Um, Lovely to have you join me today. How has your day been and where are you joining me from? Hello, Ma. Good evening. Thank you for joining me today. Um, Thanks for joining me in this series. Thank you so much. Good evening, Ma. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for coming on time. How has your day been? I hope you've had a good day. Um, Please let us know where you're joining us from. If you don't mind, just dropping in the chat box. Where are you joining me from today? Hi, Detola. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Detola. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hey, I think I'm hearing your voice for the first time.
Yes, I know.
How
How's
are
your
you?
day
Are you
been?
still in Lagos?
Yes, I am. I am. Yes.
Yeah. How has your day been?
It's been good, thank you.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about tonight's webinar, actually. I am super excited. And do you know why? Because one of my senior mentors is joining me on the platform on the webinar. So I'm actually going to be learning. So I've got my notepad and my pen, to take some notes from him. So I am looking
Yes,
forward to it.
I'm sure
Um,
there's going to be a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
yes, I'm excited. I'm excited. This is how are you? Kemi, how are you doing? How's your day been? Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. I'm just going to wait for one more minute. You know me. Once it's time, we roll. Um, I don't believe in waiting for so long before we start, so that we can finish at the time that we said we will finish. Okay. All right. Let's do it. I'm going to share my slides now. So as you're joining me, I just want you to drop in just one word. How do you feel today? How has your day been? Describe how your day's been with just, with a word. Let's hit the ground running. How has your day been? So if you can just drop in one word, my day has been exciting. One word. Let's go. How has your day been? Let's hit the chat box with how our day has been. Let's hit the chat. I can't see anything. I can't see anything. Let's hit how has your day been today? How has your day been today? Let's drop that in the chat. How has your day been? Let's share. All right, so I'm going to keep that running. It's been exciting. And I'll tell you why. For a lot of reasons. My day's been exciting for a lot of reasons. One, because yeah, you guys are here. We're going to be spending the next hour and a half together. So it's been exciting for that reason. It's been exciting because I was able to get a nice place for my workshop. I'm having a face-to-face workshop, first day of April. So I was able to get that today. Nice place, beautiful hall. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for life. I'm excited that I'm alive, I'm here. So please tell me, how has your day been? Thank you. Awesome. I got awesome. Thanking God for always for the gift of life. Thanking God for the gift of life. So please let us know, how has your day been? Drop it in the chat box. My day's been exciting. That's mine. How has your day been? And then where are you joining me from? Where are you joining me from? So I would like you to share with me. As you're joining us tonight, tell me, how has your day been with one word, to describe that with one word? And where are you joining me from? I'm not getting any response. I don't think I'm going to start this webinar until I get some response. Guys, communicate with me. How has your day been? And where are you joining me from? How has your day been? Where are you joining me from? Thank you. Oh, Bims, lovely to have you. It's been great. And she's joining from the UK. Thanks, Bim. I've got Yemi from Ogun State. Thank you. Thank you. Where are you joining me from, and how has your day been? Has you joining us? Has you joining the webinar? Drop in the chat box how your day's been and where are you joining me from. Hey, thank you, Pastor Kemi from Kent. Yes, thanks, Detola from Lagos, Nigeria, and your day's been good. Awesome stuff. Your day's been great. Your day's been good. Fantastic. Right, without much ado, it's 4 minutes into our time. I'm going to, and I think my special guest is here. Hello, good evening, Pastor Ayo. Lovely. Thank you so much. Kemi, good, and from Salford. Thank you so much. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, for, investing your time in us tonight. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. All right. So tonight we're looking at setting boundaries in relationships. We're looking at how do we set boundaries in relationships. So that's what we are looking at tonight. As you join us once again, how has your day been with one word, and where are you joining us from? All right. So we're going to first observe some housekeeping. Please, as you join us, mute your mics, and it's recorded. So if you do want your video to show, absolutely fine, but please, can we mute our mics as we join, and let's engage, right? Let's engage throughout. So we'll be asking questions. I'm going to be sharing with you based on what I know, and I would like to also learn from you as well. And I know that Pastor Ayo, who is in the house, has a lot of goodies for us. So if you may, come with your pen, come with your notepad as you join us today. All right, so this is me. I'm Funmi. I'm a certified personal performance coach, and I am also a therapist. I am a relationship counselor. So I combined all. Now, in my work, I have found that my passion lies with working with self-esteem and confidence, supporting people who, because of their various experiences in life, childhood experiences, trauma, failure, have been experiencing low confidence and low self-esteem. So I am passionate about that, and I'm also passionate about working with married couples. So this is what I do in my day-to-day. I work with couples, and I also support people who are about to embark on that journey through premarital counseling. So I'm a member of the British Association of Psychotherapists and Counselors here in the UK. I'm a member of the ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation. And I am trained through the Gottman Institute, and that's the modality through which I work and support couples and people who are looking to go into relationship that leads to long-term commitment, marriage. So that's what I do. Now, I will start with a quote by Vernon Howard. It says, always walk through life as if you have something new to learn. And guess what? You will. So if we have an open mind we are always willing to learn, then we will find as we journey along life that we are always learning. There was a particular, I think it was a conference that I saw, and a man was in this conference. He was 87 years old, and he was at that conference with his notepad and pen. And that challenged me that even an 87-year-old man can attend a conference and not just attend, he's writing, he's learning. Who am I? Who am I? So I'm sure that there is always something that we learn if we have an open mind. So we're looking at values today. We're looking at values. What do we understand by values? Now, values I would describe as the principles that you believe are most important. Those things that you believe are most, and underline that word most. So there are lots of things that we find in life that are important to us, but then we have to have a hierarchy. We have to, have an order, prioritize those things so that we can pay adequate attention to them, right? So they help us to determine our priorities, how we behave, and what gives our lives meaning. So these are what values are, those principles that are important that helps us prioritize. An example given here is a person who believes, whose value is ambition. So that person prioritizes his career, while a person whose values is family may try to spend more time at home with the family. Now, it doesn't mean that the person whose topmost value is ambition doesn't value family. But at that stage in life, they value their career more, so they place more attention to their career. And with family understanding, of course, that is for a set period of time, they are able to juggle things, accordingly. So learning your own value would also help you to prioritize and pay attention to what's important to you part-time. So with that at the back of our mind, remember when we started, or I said, we will have to bring out a notebook and a pen and write stuff down, but more importantly, we would engage, right? So we will have to engage. I want us to explore, what do value mean to you, or what does values mean to you? So my first question to you is, when you were younger, what were your wishes for the future? So I want you to hit the chat box. One of the things that you think was important to you, that you felt was of value to you when you were younger, what was that? Have a think, and I want you to, share with us, if you may, what those values are. When you were younger, what was important? What were the things that you would want to see in your future? So for me, I think when I was younger, freedom was a value, freedom, just, being independent of my parents. That was one of the major things. I was like, if I'm older, when I grow older, this is what I wanted to. So I was just so much looking forward to that as a young person. And of course, if you are from Africa, having African parents, or even here in the UK, you will possibly understand. So somebody said acing exams. Wow, you were an ethical. You were an ethical. Acing exams was a priority, but I think the major thing I was always looking forward to was getting out of my parents' house. Somebody said being a pastor. Wow, I have some awesome spiritual people in the house. Thank you. Freedom. Yes. Peace of mind. Thank you, sir. Somebody wanted to be a leader. Wow. And one of the things that we will find out about values is that our experience in life informs the desires of our hearts. The kind of things you experience, it informs what you want to do, what you want to achieve, right? So these are the things. But my question to you now is, now that you are an adult, are those still the same things? The desires, your values, now that you're an adult, are they still the same? I just want you to hit the box with a yes or a no. Okay, I'm getting mixed response. I'm getting no, I'm getting yes. Yeah, for me, it's a no. it's a no. Now I'm like, oh my God, I realize how much responsibility it is to become an adult. How many bills that has, how much bills I have to pay, so it changes. So one of the things that we're going to be learning is that values change. They are not set in stone. They do tend to change as we pass through different stages in life. So values do change. I've got another question for you. Describe one of your closest friends. What makes you close? So you can describe with one word or maybe a sentence. Describe one of your closest friends and what makes you close. It's a little bit of a tricky one. So I have a close friend who is passionate about the things they do. So passion, very, very passionate. One of my closest friends, she is very, very passionate. Shared values. Yes, sir. Thank you. Similar values. Passionate about the things of God. Openness. Yes. Awesome. Kindness. Disciplined. Yes. So now that yes, we have the same values and we see life differently. Thank you for that. Yes. So and do we share these same values with them? With this description that we have given to our close friend, do we share? I have somebody, we share the same values. So you've already gone ahead, you've answered that question. Thank you. Yes. 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 I'm getting a lot of yeses. Awesome stuff. Yes. And what does that say to us? Our values also inform the kind of people that we relate with. Our values inform the closeness, those people that we have in our close circle. That is values. Awesome. All right, I've got one more question and then we move on to the next. What might someone who knows you well say is important to you? And that person might still be your close friend or somebody that knows you very well. What would they say about you? Somebody that knows you very well. Your family. Yes. Yes. And what would they say? What would they say is important to you? That you are a God lover. Okay, thank you, Bridget. What would a close family that knows, close person that knows you really well, what would they say is important to you? What? Somebody that knows you really well. That person might be your spouse if you're married, or your closest friend, or a colleague. What would they say about you? What would they say that is important, that serves God passionately? You're a giver. Thank you, Emmanuel, that you are a giver, right? And these are indicators to our values. All of these questions that we've asked and we've responded to are indicators to our values. It shows and demonstrates the things that are important to us. All right. So I'm just going to summarize the things that we've just done, that brief exercise. Our values inform our thoughts. What's important to you demonstrates what you think about. And what you think about determines how you feel. And of course, how you feel reflects in your behavior. Not so much as what we say, but it's what we do. Because you can't be the things that you think about. It reflects. One of the things that I know people say about me is, I am, my expression demonstrates and shows what I'm thinking about. If I'm happy, you would know I'm happy. If I'm not happy, it shows on my face. I wear my emotions maybe on my sleeves, as it were. But the things that are important to me, you would know, right? And it shows on how we behave and it shows up in our workspaces, it shows up in our family, it shows up in the community, wherever we find ourselves. It shows up in different ways. Here are some of the benefits. Some of the benefits of knowing and being able to identify your values. So one, healthier self-esteem. We need values because they guide our behavior, they guide our attitude, they show up in our personalities, and also they inform the choices that we make. So if you understand what your values are, then you will be able to prioritize and make appropriate decisions. And of course, when you are able to make the decisions that you want to make because it's important to you, you would be happy. And then it means that correspondingly, you would have a healthy self-esteem, and self-confidence also improves because you know what's important and you are able to prioritize and you are able to make those choices. It's, confidence simply means your ability, it's ability-based, apologies. Confidence is ability-based. If you're able to do something, you become more confident, right? You're able to prioritize and you retain focus as well. If you don't know what your values are, it's easy for you to lose focus. Somebody else's values become yours. And that's one of the things that we see in people pleasers. It's all about other people. They leave themselves on the back burner. It's all about supporting other people's dreams, supporting other people's dreams, which is not a bad thing itself, but you mustn't lose yourself in the mix. Understanding your purpose is also a derivative of values. If you know what your values are, then you are focused, you are able to, be purposeful. You wake up, you have a reason to wake up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, you are alert because you have something that you are going to do that drives you. And that's coming from a place of value. It's the same thing with your career, the same thing with relationships. So we're looking at relationships, right? Understanding what your values are would help you to be assertive in communication in relationships. So that's important. All right, so this is the exercise. We're going to do a quick exercise to determine what your values are. And we're just going to do in a quick few minutes. If you've been on my webinars before, you possibly may have come across this, but you may be in a totally different stage in your life now. So why not? Let's have a go. From the, apologies, that's gone up. From the list below, you're going to select some values. And all I'm asking you to do is select up to 10 out of all these beautiful values that you can see. Select 10. When you have selected those 10, you're going to place them in an order of priority, with number 1 being your most important value with respect to relationships. Okay, so have a look at the list, and I want you to, if you have your notepad and your pen, write down what's important to you. What are your top 10? Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze. What jumps out at you first? Is it community? Is it family? Is it money? Connection? Whatever you feel jumps out at you first out of this list. Now, remember, I said that they can all be important, but some will be more important than the others, depending on the stage that you are in at the moment in your life. I'm just going to give us a couple of minutes to try that. And if you are done, just say done in the chat. If you're done, say done in the chat, but have a quick look. Top 10 and put them, so another easy way to do it is just write your top 10, write your 10, and then you can just number them in front, so you don't have to start rewriting. Put your 10 down and then put your numbers in front of them. So if you're joining us now, we are looking at values. We're just doing a quick exercise on what values, what our values are, what are your values. and I have a list of values right here in front of me. I have a list of 10 values right here. Sorry, I've got a list of data more than 10. You are to choose 10. Choose 10 values and put them in order of importance. So that's what we're doing right now. It's a quick exercise. If you're done, let me know in the chat. Let's say done. Thank you. If you got any question, let's know. Thanks, Adam. I've got it done. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to share. Oops. I just want you to have an idea what's your value, what's important for you now. Thanks, Desola. Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much for doing it. Let's get a couple more done and then we can move on. Thanks, Margot. Let's get one more done. One more done. Let's get one more. And all right. All right. So you can take a screenshot if you haven't done it so that you can, if you need more time, you can take a screenshot and you can continue later. But the whole idea, remember, is to understand what's important to you and how you can prioritize. Listen, we only have 24 hours in a day, right? But I think that's enough if we are able to prioritize the things that are important to us, rather than trying to do everything at the same time, right? So that's cool. So that's the value exercise. I'm going to quickly move on, but I've got a question, right? And the question is, do your actions align with those values, the values that you've stated that are important? Now, we've done 10. The top 3 values in your list are what we would refer to as your core values, right? The top 3 are your core values. So one of my core values is family. And family is very, very important. And I'm asking myself, does my action align with those values? I think fairly yes. Why? Because I remember it's been on since I got married. I remember when I had my first son, and we had to have a conversation in my family because there's childcare, we know how much is coming in and how much we would have to spend. It was easy for me to decide, right, okay, I'm going to work part-time to look after my son rather than sending him full-time to school. Because for me at that time, family was important. Spending time with my son was more important than me earning so much in money. I knew it was going to be a tight squeeze. I knew it was going to be really hard, very challenging, in fact, because it meant that I could go to the store, see something I like, and not buy because I can't afford it. But for me, it was okay because I wanted to spend time. I wanted to spend quality time with my child, at that stage of his life. So that was important, and it informed my decision. And the other question was, how strongly do your loved ones hold this value? It's equally important to my husband because it was a joint decision. So that meant that when I needed extra money, he didn't squeeze his face to support, because it was a joint decision, that we made. And it's important that your core values align not just with you, it's shared with your partner if you are in a relationship. So one of the things that I always advocate when I'm working with couples is know what your values are, but also identify what your shared values are, because it would reflect in your decision making. It will reflect in a lot of other things. Okay. All right. So Any questions for me? While I will bring my guest up. So that's just an introduction to values, introduction to values. Now we're going to go to the next stage, which is setting boundaries. So we've talked about what values are. I am hoping that you do understand fairly what your values are. But now we're looking at, how do we set boundaries when it comes to our values? How do we enforce it? Especially if you've struggled in the past, if you've struggled with setting boundaries, you are even unsure, what your values are. Now we know, but how then can I enforce these boundaries? What does boundaries even look like? Are there different types of boundaries? Do I have to apply different boundaries to different things? So I'm going to bring up my special guest. He's a mentor. For those of you who may not know, Pastor Ayo was a pastor with Daystar Christian Center. He was a pastor for 12 years before the Lord led him, to start a unique ministry. He is a family pastor, but he has a pastoral heart. What does that look like? He loves people. He loves working with people, with family, with relationship. He's a transformational coach. Apologies. Ooh, sorry. 1 second. Uh-oh. I think I have, apologies, guys. 1 second. Let's bring that back up. Okay. So he's a pastoral, he has a pastoral heart. He's a senior pastor of Lighthouse International. And he is a whole lot more. He is a father, he is a husband, and he is a blessing to our own generation. So please, let's make him welcome. Pastor Ayo, I'm going to yield the floor over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time tonight. And I'd like to especially thank my sister for this privilege. I think, as a matter of fact, she has made my job very easy tonight with what she shared earlier on. It's a very broad topic, but I think we do as much we can do and the few times that we have. I don't want to stop you with so many things. I will.
Sorry, sir. Your video is not on.
Oh, is it?
No.
Oh.
Yes, you're on now.
Wow. Oh, okay. Okay. I know what has happened. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. So how do we do this tonight? Okay. Can you still see me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think we are good to go. So I said thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for dedicating this time. One thing you're going to do for me here tonight is to prepare your questions so that we can take maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 questions at the end of my note. It's a very broad topic, really, creating boundaries. I'll try and touch on certain things, which is similar to the introduction that you have given us. First, I like to say that us human beings, we are generally drawn towards what we call extremes in life. We are wired to want to explore things, sometimes at the edge of things. I remember growing up in my nation, Nigeria, when I was a small kid, we like to walk on the edge of the drainage. Most of the time, instead we leave the roads to just go and walk, and we can walk and we do like a circus kind of thing. So human beings, we are generally drawn to explore things. Of course, we call them adventures. We just want to explore it. Somebody wants to travel to new spaces. And in most situations, when we don't create boundaries, it can become an hazardous practice. And that's what has happened in real life. I mean, I don't used to get afraid of heights, but as life throws up things, sometimes, I remember growing very young. I climbed trees. Sometimes we fall off such trees. We want to pluck mango. We won't even say it at home. We just like to explore. And if we look at the way life is at the moment, with the advent of social media, civilization, development, the prevailing culture itself is encouraging so many things. Because I heard what you said earlier on about your value being the family. And so at certain stage in your life, you have to make sacrifice for the family. It's like you understand what boundary is all about by you doing that, saying, in the midst of many alternatives that we all have, this is what I want in my own space. I want to give time to my business. I want to give time to my family. I want to give time to relationship. So the prevailing culture around us today, the temptation there is we are all encouraged to work longer hours. We've been encouraged to sleep less. Sometimes we've been encouraged to just make the money spend so that we can spend more and get a better lifestyle. As much as these things sounds good and inspiring, but we need to balance things out. Because if we don't, such a life that is lived without boundaries, we can just be at the tipping point. We can be walking at the cliff. And the same people who says, oh, do this, are the same people who say, oh, why would she or he or she, why would they do such a thing? So life throws up stuff every day. We live in a world that is not that balanced. That's the truth. Everybody has what we can call extreme calendars. Everybody have extreme financial goals. Everybody have extreme approaches to work, their physical health. Everybody wants extreme interest. But I believe, and I just want to encourage here, I want to believe everybody will share that sentiment with me. God designs us to live a balance. He wants us to be balanced. Even in most workspace today, there is work-life balance. That's what is being encouraged, because we've suddenly realized that the amount of time, money, values, the things that we have cannot really fit into the many things we all wish to do. So we have a list of things we want to achieve, but creating boundaries sometimes helps us to just say to ourselves, this is how much I can take. So calendar boundaries, for example, if you create it in your calendar day-to-day thing, it means reserving time for rest, reserving time for solitude, where you can have your strength renewed, reserving time for your kids if you're married. If you are not married, reserving time for your extended family, to make a call, to do an email, reserving time. That's calendar boundaries. It also means that there is just so much I can accommodate more. I don't know if it has happened to you. When we don't do that, we come under stress. When we still don't define what the boundaries are, we come under burnout. And what we are actually aiming for, because we don't have time for solitude, we don't have time to just shut down everything, shut down the social media, we get so much under pressure. So sometimes this boundary can be in our finances. And then the balance there will just mean, oh, this is how much I can earn, this is how much I can afford from now. I just want to live within my means. Sometimes it's such boundaries so that we don't put so much pressure on ourselves to the point that we are not even productive anymore. So it means changing, if it means or suggests changing our lifestyle, we are willing to do it. And sometimes it's also work boundaries, which means focusing on what we are made to do and not just the various things that calls for attention. And like the saying says, becoming a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So boundary or margin, as it were, is a gift. Everybody has access to 24 hours. Everybody, this is in relationship, for example. Brothers, sisters, friends, colleagues, you will always meet handsome people every day. or you will always meet beautiful women every day. But boundary means you marry just one. Boundary means we stay committed to that one. Boundary means we are committed to work things out. There is joy in building together. And then we shut our eyes to the all other various attractions. So boundary is actually, when we understand it, it is a gift from our Creator. And it impacts so well on our relationships. It brings joy, it brings peace to us. I don't know if you have experienced it. I have. You just get to a point when you are under stress and you just say to yourself, no more. You just block out. I can't take this anymore. I have been at such places in my life before I understand this subject of boundary very well. So it's very important. Even in the workplace, they say they encourage work-life balance. Why? They believe that when people are under stress and they experience burnout, then the actual work is also not being done. People are no more performer. They underperform the company. They are not useful to the company. They are not useful to themselves. So how do we get to this point tonight? Please, the first point I want to make is that we care for others by caring for ourselves. I mean, you go get on any airplane, it's always the first rule, which is safety. It's always the first rule. For adventure, this airplane suddenly loses pressure, cabin pressure, and oxygen mask will be lowered. First, please, even when you have children, first put it on yourself before you extend to help other people. So boundary, it's very, very important. Otherwise, if we don't care, if we don't live life with boundary, we will be fear-driven. I mean, you are a coach, you do wellness. There is the anxiety syndrome. There is just people are anxious. I don't know if you have met such people. I mean, sometimes they have heart palpitation. It's just because they don't know where to say no. And we can't be putting up appearances. We can't be putting up a facade. We are not designed to live a self-centered, counterfeit life. So no matter the culture of our city, no matter the culture of the workplace, no matter what life is calling to us, sometimes life says, hurry, and you are being left behind. Life says, oh, just care about other things. A lot of the time, worry, stressing, and most of the things we really worry about, from my experience and from relating with other people, they are actually things that may never come to pass. They just bring unnecessary stress. But hey, God's calling over our life is to live a life of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That is the God's calling that we have over our life. The truth is that a borderless life is a dangerous life. It's like a disaster going somewhere to happen. So people with poor boundaries, they come with two flavors. If you don't create that boundary around your life, number one, those who take too much responsibility for the emotion and actions of others. I have lived that way. What I take on as calling over my life, which is a pastoral thing, sometimes you have pain and people still expect you to minister to them. So those who take much responsibility for the emotions and actions of others, and there is a saying that somebody confronted me with. He said, you use Panadol for the headache or analgesics. You use it for the headache of other people. So you need to create boundaries. Sometimes I've broken my health, it has affected my health. So I've learned over time. And then secondly, the flavor of those who don't have boundary is that those who expect others to take so much responsibility for their own emotions. No, everyone must stand up. You know what is good for you. You know your limit. When they stretch you out, you must be able, you should become self-aware, your emotions. You know that if things are taking a certain dimension, you can cross the line. So we must learn that. We know boundary is a gift. For those of you who are conversant with the Bible, in Job 26:10, it says, God created the horizon. When he separated the waters, then he set the boundary between day and night. That's just the word. So let's go into the specific. What are the boundaries we may need to set in our lives? Number one, physical boundaries. Physical boundaries. It refers simply to our privacy, our personal space. We need to set it. I mean, nothing crosses it. There is a family time. There is, I mean, in this day where everything is just calling for attention, one Instagram picture to another, we need to set it. There are things that invade our spaces in the bid to do one thing or the other. And then the second boundary, sexual boundaries. I don't know if there is any generation that has faced sexual temptation than ours. I don't know. I'm yet to know. There are things that are suggestive to us every day. You know, sometimes you just ask yourself the question, I do, what has a naked woman got to do with selling of a car? Hardly will you see any, even cartoons now, that doesn't have suggestive languages. So sexual boundaries. I have to deal with people because of what I do, who says to me that listening to certain kind of music, they feel like grabbing a girl or a man or a woman after listening to those lyrics because it just stirs up their emotions. So sexual boundaries. Number three, emotional and mental boundaries. I mean, this is a world that we live in. So many things comes to us every day. If you ask any one of us here, if there is anything you want to keep every day is your mental wellness. There are articles you read. There are mindsets that you just meet people and their mindset are so what? Some people don't believe in themselves, so they find it very difficult to believe in other people. So we set emotional or mental boundaries around our lives. The fourth area is your spiritual entity. You need to set boundaries. You need to say, he who walks with the wise will become wise. Some people are pessimistic towards life. No matter how good you think something is going, they will always look for something that will go wrong. I mean, we call it fate. You don't want to hang around people who talk negatively, who don't see possibilities in this life. We have challenges. It's so much in life, but we must see a ray of hope. So your spiritual boundaries. Number five, your financial boundaries. Your financial boundaries. I mean, most of us who probably you are here, you live in all those advanced countries where things can just be at your feet. Some people have bad credit, not because they want to, but because they just don't know how to cut boundaries around the subject of their finances. So the sixth thing is your time. Your time. I'm still up till today, I'm still fighting that. Some people will just invade your space. It might be with a phone call, it may be with physical meeting. They just invade your space such that what you plan to do in a day, you may end up not doing anything at all. And then there are what I will call non-negotiable boundary. There are things people say to us, suggestive words. There are times some people may call you at odd hours, things that are not necessary. So we need to look at those. That's the 7 major classification of the boundaries that we are always encouraged to set. But around our relationship, to keep any relationship strong, please, out of those 7 things, you need to place, number 1, emphasis on the physical boundary. I mean, when you have physical contact with people, are you comfortable in hugging people you've just met? Or do you just want to think? There are certain things, some people, as funny as this may sound, some people have hugged other people and they can just, it's not that we are being naive, it's just they are sensitive to perfume. And just by just catching a whiff of that, they are defenses. They just want to hug again. So physical boundary, it's very important. If it's around relationship, emotional boundaries is also very important. There is this person that maybe they have listening here, They can listen to you at any time. They can take your matter as if it's there and all that. We must still be able to draw a boundary. Sometimes it's sexual boundary in real sense. In real sense. Every human being is created as sexual beings. But we need, I mean, like every other thing, God created us as sexual beings, but like any other thing, God put boundaries around it. He puts boundary around it. We can't just let God loose because we want to be adventurous because we want to explore new things. I've had people say quite a whole lot to me. Some people will say, oh, we're even winking at you, we are talking to you, you are just pretending. It's not that I didn't hear what they say, but I know the kind of a woman that is attractive to me. And I know everybody, we don't have to deceive ourselves. We need to know. You know, some people like maybe men talk, some people like women fair. So you need to, it's not that you are being naive, but you just don't want. And there's one thing that these boundaries will help us that I want to encourage. Everybody must have accountability partner. Everybody must, I mean, our sister said something about belonging to a community. Everybody must just have that person, your go-to-go person. Oh, the way as I am now, where I find myself now, I'm not sure I can survive. And the person can scream on you, where are you? What are you doing there? Can I meet you there? Or can you come now? Or I'm coming to pick you out of that place. It's just faith. We can't live borderless. And sometimes it's intellectual boundaries. Some people just get into arguments that are unnecessary. And at the end of the day, I mean, it helps you begin to question your own confidence, your own ability to do things. Some people use words and then to run other people's down. So you must be able to create that boundary. And then, of course, financial boundaries. I don't know how to put this. I know that one of the things that causes divorce in marriages or in relationships is just a question of couples not agree on their spending pattern. They need to put a limit, they need to have budget and financial matters. So those are the things that comes with that. What will I encourage? Protect your space. If it's physical boundaries, protect it. I mean, you have a right to or not to be touched. Have privacy. Have privacy. You can't hug me and you are continually patting my back. I will disengage from that hug. I will. I mean, that's just wisdom. I don't want to say that it's the other person who has a problem. I am the one at that moment who has a problem. So I don't want to enjoy it further. I want to disengage. So physical boundary, there is something that you can say to me that I find it very disgusting. So I say, oh, you know what? Excuse me, I don't think I'm enjoying this anymore. Even between husband and wife, you can have that communication pattern. Can we please talk about this later? So that's that boundary. Sometimes is in the way people speak, is in the way people just want to touch. I come from a background, maybe I should give you, I come from a background that has a culture that when you want to greet someone who's older than you, you prostrate or you bow. But in my own family, whether you prostrate, whether you bow, every greeting ends up with a hug. But there is a way we are taught to hug. I mean, if it's female, you are not supposed to do like what we call a full gospel hug, where you hug, where the body features are touching each other, then you hug by the side. If it's a man, I can hug a man, but not so tightly that our genitals will be touching each other. So these are things that we just need to be aware. We need to be sensitive. Someone said, or my uncle usually say, when the handshake goes beyond the elbow, it has become a wrestling match. You know things that can touch your emotions. You know things that that can just take you off course. So what are the questions that will help us to set boundaries? Number one, ask yourself, do I feel comfortable with this? Whether it's time that you are trying to do, whether it's your spending pattern, do I feel comfortable? And then secondly, ask yourself, can I say no without feeling guilty? Can I say no without feeling guilty? Can I say no without feeling guilty? And then thirdly, maybe you ask the question, can I attend to other important aspects of my life rather than just weighing myself? For example, if it's about your health, you're just there, you're just working, no time for recreation. Can you reschedule certain things? Can I attend to some other important aspect? And you are vocal about it. I think I need to just take a walk. I need to free my head. I mean, it's just you are trying to help yourself. I mean, at work, when I used to work for people, I take a bathroom break. It may not be more than 2-3 minutes, but hey, it helps me to actually recline. And quickly, over time, I master it. No more than 2-3 minutes, I'm back to face. If I find myself in an uncomfortable argument, I take a bathroom break so that I can clear my head, so that I don't say anything out of place. How does unhealthy boundaries look like? Whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in anything. Number one trait is that we are not honest with others the way we feel, whether we are being treated right or not. We are not honest. So, and I think the Bible talks about it, learning to speak the truth in love. I don't like people insulting other people. So I can't stand. I can't stand when I am being insulted. So there is a law of karma, law of reciprocal. I want to do unto others what I want them to do to me. So boundary means if I know I'm going to say something that will hurt this other person, I'd rather take a walk from that scenario, cool down and come back and resolve it. So I need to I won't allow somebody to I'm just smiling sheepishly there that I don't want this person to feel off. No, if I'm not being treated right, there are words I can use. I can say, excuse me, sir or ma'am, or please, can we have this discussion later? If it's my spouse, she's my spouse. So the other unhealthy boundary thing is letting other people define you by what they say. I mean, you just have to. I mean, sometimes, even at work, if you know that it's going to cause a sin, you can take a break, but you can come back to meet that person one-on-one. As much as you want to correct me on this, which I'm open to, I don't appreciate the fact that you have to shout me down in front of other people. I mean, that's just, the person will respect. If he wants to shout the next time, he knows that you are already one-on-one mentioned to him or her about creating such boundary. And so the person, even if he starts to shout, he remembers. And then they can back off at that time. There is greatest word that you can ever learn to say in your life, in my life, is the greatest deliverance word, is the word NO. If it's going to be at detriment to your health, to your well-being, learn to say no. And don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. If it's your spouse over time, talk about some of these things in good times. I mean, when you don't have arguments and all that, so that you can have things that you're working with. And then there is another one, which is an unhealthy boundary trait. It's trying to please everyone around you so that you can feel that you are needed. No, we can't please everyone. We cannot please everyone. You can't feel, and that's the thing. You cannot feel incomplete without another. I'm complete on my own. I can run on my own. My spouse can run on her own. But there is a principle of energy that runs in our marriage. I don't feel incomplete on my own. I don't feel inadequate. And that's why for those of us who are conversant with the Bible, you need to have that real image of what God says you are. It's not being proud, but it's just that you have set the boundary. I am guided. My own life as a person is guided by the scriptures. And I read it to get conversant with it. I have an image that I'm growing into on a daily basis. It's the image of Christ. So anything outside it, I mean, God doesn't disrespect us. God doesn't enforce himself on us. He gives us the power of choice. So anything in this world, in this world system, in the culture that want to enforce on you, I mean, it will bring pressure, it will bring stress on you. Individuals who lack appropriate boundaries, they struggle with telling others how they feel because they feel that they're going to, the fear of rejection, the fear of being ridiculed, it's the struggle with feeling, being burdened on how people perceive. Everybody, and that's why it is called an opinion. Everybody have a right to their opinion. The truth is that when we set boundaries, the truth is that we won't live according to their opinion. But when we don't set boundaries, we're looking to how to people please others. No, you can't, I mean, there is something that is a subject in leadership, that a leader is to be courageous. A leader can't be everybody's friend. They said the only people who are everybody's friend are ice cream sellers. So you must have boundaries, and it helps us. It helps us. What are the 4 ways to set this boundary? Quickly, as I round this off, you use clear communication. You don't match words with people. No. Even when somebody is shouting, I allow them to finish, and I say, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I heard all that you have said, but this is what I have said. This is what I meant. And I want you to please reconsider your stand. I mean, even if the person is shouting, if I use that voice speech, their own emotional imbalance come to balance. I know people can be tough, but please use clear communication. Use clear communication. Then set clear consequences. I don't think I enjoy being shouted upon. If you continue this way, you won't get the best out of me. That's clear. So the person already knows. So when they say, this person has ghosted, you know, I mean, you already clear communication. So it's like sometimes when people talk and they keep repeating the same thing, I just shut, I'm there, I'm present there, but I'm not listening to what they're saying, except when they start to talk derogatory on me. So you set clear consequences. And the person says, after maybe ranting for 10 minutes, he says, did you hear what I said? My response, you can be sure, I didn't. That's what I say in a very simple, concise statement. Setting boundary, you take responsibility. This is my space. This is my life. I can't live my life to satisfy you, and I'm suffering about the consequences. But we can work things out together, and we all be individually become better people. And then setting boundary or respecting it, sometimes you need to seek professional help. People like our sister here, I mean, who can help you go through tests and all that. And then you can see yourself in a new light. And then she can highlight steps for you, and you're beginning to do things well. I don't know if we have any question. I still have so much materials, but I think I want to stop at this point. Sis, so if we have any question.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Any question? Let's ask questions. Please, let's speak freely. Let's type in the questions that we may have so that, we can get answers. And that's one of the benefits. That's one of the importance of us coming together, not just to sit and listen. Let's ask questions. It might be for yourself. It might be for somebody that let's ask questions. If you know anyone who is in a situation that maybe caused because they don't understand what their values are, or they are having trouble setting boundaries, and someone who has low self-esteem would definitely have trouble setting boundaries. Someone who or you might find yourself in a new environment, and it may cause you to begin to question and doubt your own abilities, and you may feel that, oh, maybe you need to be quiet, and you're struggling. What are those things that you need support with that we can help you with. So let's ask questions, any question around boundary. But Sas, thank you so much. You have shared a lot, and I particularly have taken notes. I've taken lots of notes down. Set clear consequences, one of them. You know, for boundaries, it's important. It's just not enough to know what your values are. It's not just enough to say, okay, I know I'm setting boundaries. What are the consequences? If those boundaries are breached, you know, what are the consequences? So let's ask questions. Let's ask questions. Or if you want to
There's one
speak.
question here already.
Okay, sir.
This person says, can I say no without feeling guilty?
yeah.
Yes, you can. You can
Yeah.
say no without feeling guilty. If I give an instance, there is someone who likes to plan, and there is another person who likes to crash in everything. So if I plan my day out, and the person who likes to crash has procrastinated and leaves, there's just somebody, everybody has such friends like that, who always leave something till the last minute. So if I plan my day, and then the person suddenly remember that they have to be at a place and they need my help to be at that place at that particular time, and already planned something out, and I've maybe at one time or the other, I have given up my time to attend to them, and still they have not learned how to also plan their own life. I can say no without feeling guilty. And I can simply say to them, oh, I have done these at different instances. I think today I also have a commitment to meet. You can sort it out. I can still give them what to do when they get there, but I may not follow them. Or somebody does not budget, is always asking me for money and all that. There may be a time, if they ask me for money and they don't even pay back at the appropriate time, because that's also, it happens in life. You have an extra money somewhere that you are not using, somebody wants it and says, oh, I give you at the end of 2 weeks, and they have done it consistently. If I know that they're going to mess me up when I need my own money, I will say no without feeling guilty that I don't have anything to spare. So those are instances where I can say no. If I have a spouse, I don't have, but if you have a spouse who consistently making the same mistake and they are not ready to. So you might say no, maybe a wake-up call for them. Say no to that request at whatever time that they make it. Maybe a wake-up call. It's not that you don't love them. It's not that you don't want good for their progress, but you have consistently walked through a particular situation and they have failed without time. You can say, no, I'm not doing this at this time. I mean, gently, without any fine, you say no. And I believe, of course, you have differences about it, but at least if that will be like a wake-up call for them, I think you can say no without feeling guilty. Okay. If somebody has a spouse who is into extramarital affairs and always bring diseases home, you can say no if they want to sleep with you and you know that they have gone to do something stupid somewhere. Or I didn't answer that question.
No, you did, sir. Actually, you did. I was just going to ask exactly what similar question to what you said, that, you know, in a marriage environment, you know, is it possible to set boundaries, you know, within a husband and a wife? How do you set boundaries, you know? But setting clear consequences is one of them. If you have a husband or a wife who is possibly maybe frivolous, spends a lot more than necessary, how do you, you know, set boundaries in those respects?
Yeah, it's by just agreeing. How much? I mean, it's I said this to couples a lot. There is somebody in that marriage who can manage finances better. Who can manage finances better? So you have to identify that. It may be your husband, it may be the wife. So I think the first thing is to come to a point of agreement. How much do we have at our disposal? Even in marriages where people spend differently, you still have to be concerned. Because if you have a spouse, I have a spouse, okay, it's not my money, we are not pulling the resources together, but the person is overspending to the point of borrowing money and it is becoming embarrassment to the family, I think you need to talk about it. I mean, establishing budget, that's the basic economics sense that we can do. How much do we have at our disposal as a family? What do we spend money on? I mean, there are very simple things like that. And then how, because finances actually is basic things in marriage. It helps us to measure trust and commitment. So whether, you know, the idea is that when you pull money together, you become better couples, it may not necessarily be. When you spend your money separately, it may also not necessarily be. But you need to maintain trust. Trust means openness. And then you need to plan your finances. So what I say or suggest to people is is my wife, in my own case, is my wife who can manage money better. It's not that I'm a spendthrift, but there are things that I can buy without thinking about it. I can buy books, I can buy shoes. So, but we needed to put a balance to that, because sometimes I have that mentality that I can buy things, money will come. But hey, it doesn't work. But I've seen that over time, in my own marriage, my wife has successfully managed finances better. So I yielded that responsibility. In some other people's home, is the husband who can manage finances better. So you know that if anything is going to cause embarrassment, it comes upon the whole family. So you need to talk about it. And like I said, it's been proven that number one thing that causes divorce in marriages is financial, the way couples handle money. It's not even infidelity in some cases, it's money. And our money has just one language, our attitude towards it, So if it's that, I've had cases in before where someone in the name of submission was sleeping with a spouse who is all over the place. And before she realized it, she's HIV positive. So that's stupidity of the highest order. So if there is a problem, say it. I mean, that's why we have professional people like you. People should go for counseling, how to manage their emotions. People should go for counseling, how to manage their anger, if that is the prevailing thing in that relationship. Violence against, I mean, this day now, is not only maybe for those who read the Bible alone, even in civil matter, violence against women, against children has become a major thing. So everybody must learn to manage their emotions when it comes to anger. So those are things that I think in our world today, we have been given tools to live a balanced life and then to create boundaries right around our life. Someone is asking a question: how do you deal with people who has no respect for other people's boundary without letting them feel bad? People don't have respect for other people's boundary. For example, time. I will not encourage you if you don't have respect for time. If you come into my office at 8 and without any appointment, depends on what I want to do, I may not give that person an audience, because the person might, I don't know if it has happened to you, it has happened to me. I can't imagine somebody coming to my office saying to that, I just want to come and greet you, and it's very early in the morning. It means you don't have respect for time. I mean, there are ways to deal with that. If you talk, I have in my mind an average time I want to spend with an individual. So when that time is over, the first thing that I do, I recline my seat backward. Then, if the person is still talking, sitting, I stand up. I mean, these are things that you that have boundaries over your life. I mean, I worked with people, and that's where I learned things. My boss that I was working with before, you have to prepare your thoughts because you don't have more than 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, he will just put his head back on whatever his work. So it's more like you pause, he lifts up his eyes, the countenance on his face doesn't suggest that you are needed in that room anymore. So people don't have respect for other people. Don't let them come into your space. Somebody says, oh, I just want to play around. Go and play somewhere else. So you don't, I won't feel guilty if somebody insists, and I say it politely, please, I have deadlines to work on. Can we have this discussion later? Especially if it's something that is frivolous, something that is not even adding any value to anybody. You can't be gossiping to me on phone and say 10 minutes, somebody said somebody. How do I curtail that? Up till now, it's one of the tools that I have. I said, this thing that you are telling me, is it true? He said, yes, so even this person confirmed it. I said, can I call this person now? And then put you on speakers. Usually without fail, 99.9% of time, you say, oh, I don't want trouble. Then stop gossiping to me about it. If you don't want any trouble, if you're not sure of what you want to say. So I don't know if that answers your question, Bola. I don't know. If it doesn't, please expand on it and I will talk about it better. Any other question, please? Oh, thank you, sis. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So any other question for Pastor Ayo? Any other question? If you're single, are there questions around boundaries that you want to understand?
Single people,
to relationship? And any questions around boundaries? Because I think that's another thing. Well, I have a question here. How do you manage your workplace boundaries, especially when working as a team?
And you are meeting a target.
And you're meeting a target.
So, yes, thank you, Bridget. So working in a team, I mean, you need the variety. Some people are idea spinners. They just spin ideas. When it comes to execution, you can't even give them something to follow up. If you are the team lead, you just study the different people on your team. That's the thing, and then know how to manage the different emotions. That's a skill that you have to. And how do you do it? So if it's in a meeting, team meeting, and somebody just like to dominate the discussion, or somebody like to stretch things unnecessarily, what you need to do to manage such diversity, number one, look at the time of your meeting, the time you have to meet. And then secondly, set an agenda for the meeting. Send it ahead to everybody. So, because at that point, you're saving time. Some people just like to talk. Fine, they have ideas. I mean, have someone, which is another thing, to capture. You can't have the same set of people with the same similar characteristics on a team. You will do more. You need to have somebody to capture. I mean, one of the things I learned in working with teams, they will say things like, there is no useless ideas. I agree, but we have to have an agenda. We have to have set boundary. I mean, if you are the team lead, you can say things like, today, this is what we have on our agenda. And if you are contributing, we give each person 2 minutes to, I mean, try and write as other people are saying, just like our sister did at the beginning of this meeting, you set the ground rules and all that. So at the end of the day, you are able, and there is something on within. So there is a time for serious business. There is a time for recreation. So you can incorporate everything. Just study your team members, or if you're not the team lead, and you can see that these things are going out of boundary, you can have one-on-one with your team lead and make suggestions, not that you are condemning people's action, but you just make suggestions. Oh, I was just thinking about something, how we can make our meeting more robust. And then you just do like an highlight and all that. And the person say, oh, I mean, if it's a good lead who wants the team to succeed, oh, this is nice. Can you put it in an email form so that every other person can be copied in it? So that's the way to do. Once you don't attack people, you don't attack their personality, you don't insult people, and then you don't permit people insulting other people around you, you can make a great team. We need all those varieties in every team. Some people are playful. Some people out of that playful manner, they spin up ideas and they can become winning ideas. So whether some people in our own estimation, they are serious, or some people are just gestures and they are not serious, if you are the team lead, you can put all those, harness those resources to work towards your target in that team. I don't know if that answers your questions, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sam. That was quite explicit, very explanatory. Thank you. I mean, thank you so much. Anybody else with any other question?
Relationship
Any other
question?
question? Relationship questions around boundaries, you know. If you are an introvert,
Around
you
dating,
find it
around
difficult.
engagement.
Yeah, you know, for some people are introverted, and they find it difficult talking about the things that really matter, you know. For such a person, how can they communicate their boundaries?
Okay, I think if it's relationship, how do you ensure boundaries around your? I think you started us tonight with the subject of values. That's what I say to people. What are our personal values? Some people have values of being peaceful. Some people have value of trust. Some other people is integrity. Some people, if you can just tell them, tell a lie as an excuse, they are just off. Some people are introverted. Some people are extroverted. That's the category. Psychologists are split people. Some are flag, some are melancholy, some are the live wire of the party, sanguine, and they can take you to party and actually forget you somewhere. And then they are just busy all over the place. And then some other people are choleric and all that. All those personality types, they have their own advantages. So, and I think for me, you know what I'm about to say. One of the things we do for people who start to date and they know that they want to share their lives together is to bring them to a place of self-awareness. And that's where all this subject of personal values is. A sanguine who is mushy with touch and all that is likely going to, that's the way they want to express themselves, is likely going to make an advance towards whoever they are getting married to. They want sex before marriage and all that. So if you are self-aware, then you can agree. And that's what I say to people. Subject, if you are dating to get married, talk about sex. Talk about the subject of sex so that you know who you are dealing with. Talk about it. Well, people just have this spooky attitude that it doesn't matter and all that. And then somebody is trying to do something that they are not comfortable with, and they are still not able to. There's no way two people are dating to be married that there won't be. As a matter of fact, if they say that there is no chemistry or attraction towards each other, they don't have any business getting married. That's the truth. But people just over spiritualize things and all that. So self-awareness is the first thing. What are the limits of what I can take? What can I not take? Some people, they are not used to, their parents didn't talk down on them. They don't abuse. Some people, they grew up in home where they have the template of conversational parenting. Some other people grew up in a home where it's with an authoritarian parent. And so they just live by instructions. So if such people from two different backgrounds are getting married, it becomes a challenge. So self-awareness, I will say it, if anyone is on this platform, you're not married, please, when you are set to get married, do premarital counseling. There are many things that all these things throws up. For example, there is a financial test that you need to. You can get that. How all of us, our attitude towards money, for example, is informed by the background that we grew up. If you grew up in an African background, you probably hear phrases like, "Oh, do you think I grow money on the tree?" It's a phrase that suggests that money is not enough and probably will not be enough. But you hear. So sometimes we have these questions when we are doing financial tests that, some people just being stingy may be from the background. Some people just find it very difficult to bring out money, and you have to beg, you have to convince, you have to defend. When they are going to school, they have to defend like they are defending a project to convince their parents that they need money for school. So if People grow up from that different, or somebody who grew up from one business, and you are taught to trade. You are taught to become an entrepreneur as early as possible. It's different from such people who grew up in background where you are just taught to stay with your salary. So these are things, you become self-aware. If you don't also know how does it think. Some people grow up in families where just get the money and spend it. But we can't operate life that way. You know why I'm smiling? Sometimes I meet people because of what I do. Some people, their wife is pregnant and they're looking for money for delivery. And I say to myself, what height of stupidity is that? And because, sorry, I live in Africa, so you practically have to pay for everything that you do. You have 9 months to plan for the arrival of your child. I mean, it's as simple as that. You have 13 weeks to prepare for another school fees, another term. So it's as simple as that. So it involves planning. You can't run, even if one inherits any special money somewhere, is because such parents took time to plan. That's why they are able to save and leave an inheritance for their kids. So all these things is because, and that's why we need boundaries. I can't buy everything I want to buy in life. That's the truth. Do I love good life? I love good things. I will confess to you, I love good things. I love to enjoy my life. But do I have all the resources now? Maybe not. So I've learned to live within my means. And that's what Paul preached. He said, I have learned to be contented, even when I have plenty, and then even when I don't have. In every situation that I find myself, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Let me stop that way. I don't know if that has blessed someone. Let me just stop.
I believe it has. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have blessed us a lot. We've learned about boundaries. We can't please everyone. We cannot allow the fear of rejection stop us from saying no. We have to learn how to have clear communications and set clear consequences. And I think ultimately we need to learn how to take responsibilities for our own happiness. And I think that's extremely important. We can't give our happiness to somebody else. We can't look for someone to complete us, whether it's in the workspace or in our own home, in our relationships, even in the church. We can't make it a default habit that somebody else have to do stuff for us. You have to be able to speak up for yourself in a respectful manner. And these are the ways we can set boundaries. And it can be hard if you're not used to setting boundaries. It can be quite tough at the beginning, but once you've done it once, twice, it gets easier, and you get more
and do you know
doing that.
Fumi, do you know one thing? When you meet people who have set this boundary for themselves, we all kind of respect them. That's the truth.
Absolutely.
And everybody adjusts themselves into that space. Yeah. So it's very important. I mean, I read a quote yesterday. Let me just quickly say, he said, you can't write the story of your life with another person holding the pen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
true.
I'm writing the story of my life, but I'm the one holding the pen. So it's very important. Boundaries is a very broad subject, really, but I mean, it's just very important that we must live by boundaries. We don't all have more than 24 hours in a day.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, we don't have limitless time. It's only God that dwells outside of time. Thank you so much, guys. Can we please say a big thank you to Pastor Ayo? Let's say a big thank you to him. If there's anything you are taking away from today's webinar, can we please drop it in the chat? Thank you. I've been blessed because, I've learned this, one thing that you've learned, let's drop it in the chat, because it's beautiful for us to say thank you, but I want us to say something that we are taking away. from it, and it will remain with you. It will grow. So let's say thank you, and let's say something that we are learning. So what is it that you may be learning for the first time, or or you've been reminded of? What has the webinar reminded you of? What are you taking away from today? There's a lot of thank yous there. Somebody say the ability to say no in capital letter and not feel guilty. I am with you on that one. Yes, awesome stuff. And someone seconding it. So what is it that you're taking away? We talk about values. We did an exercise on values, and Pastor has expanded, talked about the different types of boundaries, that we need to set. Don't let other, let me quickly read a few there. There's a lot, yeah. Don't let other people define you by what they say or think. I think that is just so apt. Yes, do not let anybody define you, by what they think or by what they say. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to drop a quick link in the chat. So if you know anyone in around Milton Keynes, Luton, anywhere around Northampton, we'll be holding a workshop on relationship. So there's a link there. Please take it away. Click on it. We're going to be talking about the art of love, and we're going to be spending a good 4 hours together on diverse areas on relationship, journey of self-discovery and relationship building. So if you know anyone in Milton Keynes, London, in around, please share. Learning to say no is a good skill. It is a good skill. So thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough, sir, for this time, because I know that you are a very, very busy person. But anytime I call on Pastor Ayo, he has never said no. And I'm just truly, truly grateful for that. I'm grateful, sir, for, you are a mentor, you are a guide, and setting boundaries for ourselves too, not only for others. Thank you. So more quotes are coming in, more of the things that they are taking away from today's webinar. Thank you everyone for staying with us. Thank you for, spending your evening, hoping that it's an investment in time. And I hope that, and I pray that it would yield a lot in return for you. So thank you, sir. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord continue to honor you and bless your home and your family and your ministry. Thank you so much. So please don't miss out the next workshop. It's a live workshop, it's a face-to-face workshop, and I'm just buzzing, looking forward to it. I may be able to do a hybrid one. I might bring Pastor Ayo in again, or some of the ladies that have been with us, but it's on the 1st of April. So please, let's make it a date. Let's make it a date with us. So without much ado, any last minute, and thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Somebody say thank you and God bless you.
I'm trying to find the quote. Somebody wants the last quote, so I don't want to paraphrase it. I'm just going to find it so that I can send it on the group. Please go ahead. Go ahead, Ma. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. No, I was just reading what someone dropped in.
Okay.
In the chat. Let me find it again. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Oh, yes. He said, I'm blessed because I've learned that when I'm hiding things and situations from others, it's a red flag. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, wow. If it doesn't feel comfortable, then it means I'm not applying the correct boundaries, because the correct boundaries are lacking and need to be thought upon. So thank you. That is true. That is true. We need to feel comfortable. Whatever we're doing, wherever situation we find ourselves, if we're not comfortable, it is, our inner mind telling us that something is not quite right, and we do need to act upon it. As a gut feeling, it might be the Spirit of God in your inside saying this is not quite right, and you do really need to act on it. And boundaries are essential. Awesome stuff. Thank you. There are a couple more coming through. Thank you so much. Setting boundaries for ourselves, not only for others. Yes. Goodbye, and thank you, Chloe. Thank you. So please feel free to share. There is a discount for the first few people that would register. So if you register before the 25th, there's a discount, and the discount code will be provided on this chat. So you can please share with family, friends, and I am looking forward to seeing you again soon. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pastor Ayo, once again. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chloe. Thank
I
you,
think
Jimmy.
I'm going to, Sister Fumi,
Yes.
I'm going to send the quote to you so that you can put it on the, if you have a group beyond here.
Okay. So what?
Yeah.
Somebody was asking for a quote.
Yeah, the last quote that you can write the story of your life, putting the pen in another person's hand.
Yes. Yeah, that's a quote. Yes, that's the
Yes,
quote.
but I actually want to know. I don't want to paraphrase it. I want to send it so that in absolute words.
Okay.
So I can
All
send
right.
it
So
to
what we
you.
would do, yeah, what we would do when we're sending our thank you emails out, I will put that quote there. So
Okay.
anybody
Okay.
and everybody would have access to it. So when I get it
That's
from you,
fine.
sir, I will put it
Yeah,
in
that's
the
fine. I'll
thank
look for
you.
it after this meeting and send it to you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. So do share the link with your family, friends, anybody that you know that is around us here, and look forward again to upcoming webinars that we will be having in April. But yes, have a good night and God bless you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
sir.
everyone. Have a lovely night.
Thanks, Victor. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Margot. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
night.
All right. I'm going to end this now. Thank you, everyone.